Hello, everyone. I'm kicking off another impromptu stream tonight. I've been working on some stuff, and Josh offline tried to convince me to jump on and do uh, some live broadcasting of the stuff I'm working on. So I'm probably going to be at this for maybe another hour. I should really be in bed by now. But I'm working anyway, so I guess it makes sense to do this. So far tonight, what I've been working on is trying to get the navigation a little more useful and meaningful. I've actually been doing some sketches offline on some things for layout and design and things like that. So that's what I'm working on right now, trying to kind of make everything work. So, so here we have the Astrocast logo is now clickable. Live sessions is clickable. Courses are clickable. As you can see, I've already done a little more design work on courses, trying to get things lined up. Topics and chat, which is actually new. So if anybody is interested and want to join yet another way to chat, I've created a Discord server for Astrocasts. So you won't be able to click it probably until we actually deploy this. So I'm hoping I can deploy this by the end of the session. I also have a support link up and running, so I have intercom running on this application. There's not anything there yet, but it doesn't hurt to actually have it there. I've also added some code to show a login call to action if you haven't logged in yet. I just kind of want to show what I ended up doing with that. It's pretty easy in Twig. In a Symfony app is if app.user exists, then show the logout path, otherwise show the login path. And I can show that it's actually working. The login button doesn't actually look very nice, but it's there. All right, so also the admin is set up here. The version of the code that I have running in production right now doesn't actually connect to a database yet. So we'll have to see here what we can do. So I might have to do that offline because I'm not really sure how. Since I'm still new to this, I don't know how people deal with actual proper secrets and tokens and things like that. So that will be interesting if I have MySQL or Postgres passwords from Heroku showing up on the screen. What do I do with that? I might have to just cut away and hide the screen a little bit if I want to do that yet tonight. So yeah, so that's mainly what I've been doing so far this evening. If I go back to the actual site, we'll see that I actually have a login or log out button now. Let's see here. So we still have this little bit. Log out. And there we go. So now we have a login button again. It's like I'm getting some offline chat here. All right, cool. And if you are in chat tonight, make sure to say hi so that I can say hi, talk to you. If you have questions, comments, whatever. Keep me from being too bored just talking. I've found that it's very difficult to just spend time talking, programming. Whether people are there or not, you never really know, which is a lot of fun. Okay, so we're going to look at courses just to see where things are at right now. How long was it actually showing the offline thing here? Huh. Interesting. I don't know how that actually happened, so my bad. All right, Kevin. It's nice to see you on chat. You're going to get to see some stuff that you probably know pretty well, I'm guessing, which would be a lot of fun. So unless you haven't done anything with Tailwind, in which case you're either going to love it or you're going to scrape your eyes out. So I'm going to do live sessions here. I'm going to show how I updated the primary navigation as well. There was some weird stuff that I want to talk to the Tailwind team about to find out how they deal with it. This container class is pretty awesome, but it's entirely based on actual fixed widths, which means that it didn't work well with the max width stuff. And just let's see if I can actually pull it up here. Here we go. Had a lot of fun with Flexbox again. I always love that. So let's do the responsive design. So if we look at the responsive design, what we see is the default settings are based on pixels, which makes sense because it's actually paying attention to the screen size, which is awesome. The problem, though, is the max width is all based on rems, which is interesting if you're trying to do something that is, I don't know, as more responsive or more fluid. The problem, though, is that what is 50 rem? If I say max width is going to be 4XL on a XL screen, which is 1200 wide, it kind of falls apart. And if there was also a container that I was using, and the container has small, medium, large, and XL, and these are all based on the pixel widths. So the problem that I ran into was this navigation bar here was based on the max width. So we were doing things like when it gets to the medium breakpoint, use the max width of the medium width. The problem was it didn't match with the container sizes. So the container was sometimes smaller, sometimes larger than the navigation width. But I did manage to fix that, which was made me pretty happy that I was able to fix it. Let's go to bottom. Where's the responsive? Oh, there it is. It's over here now. So now it should work pretty nicely, but there are still some issues in a couple of places, and I haven't really looked at it at this screen size yet. So so on the yeah, that's fun. So there's still some work I have to do on it. I don't think I'm going to waste any time on that yet tonight because that's just going to be annoying. But that's kind of one of the things that I was working on a little earlier. And if we look at that code now, this is switched now to use the container rather than using any of the max width stuff. So things actually flow a little better until they get to super small sizes. Also, this size worked okay at my Retina resolution, but doesn't here, which is annoying. So I think what I need to do, I wonder if I can switch this. So it's small, it switches to flex, which is good. And then I have stuff at medium, so I think maybe. So what I did here was switch from at small sizes it was flex column, which is where you end up with this sort of output. Then I said at medium size, switch back to rows. So if we see medium row, I'm going to change this now to large. And let's see if that's enough to fix it. Also, I need to do the justification here. So that's where it gets things going to the end. And then flex row. And then we need this to be, yeah, let's try that. Okay. So what it's doing now is it's staying in this sort of style a little bit longer, which should make things go a little better. But I need to update some of these styles that assumed. So the padding here, if you see there's this little bit of padding there that isn't in place here. That's because I had the padding added at medium. Now I need to have it added at large. So instead of px2 for medium, we need this for large. And then do that for the rest of these as well. There we go. Cool. So that kind of fixed everything there a little bit. I'm hoping this will still be okay actually on a phone. So we'll have to check that out another time. So let's look and see what it would look like on, say, iPhone 5. So it's going to get this view, which isn't terribly good, but it's not awful. So we can see now that courses and live sessions look better. If we go to topics, it doesn't have that yet. So we're going to head into live sessions, copy this block again, and then go into topics. So ideally, at some point, we would want to try to make some components. They call them components in Tailwinds, where you could combine these things into something and make them more meaningful. Otherwise, eventually this becomes really unmanageable. So let's look and see. Topics is now aligned a little better. Chat is going to go to the Discord page and support login. All right, so I'm actually pretty happy with how this looks right now. If we look on the look on this page, things are looking all right. So the thing that we were working on earlier was a ICal import. And so I'm going to just run that now. Bin console. I don't remember what it was called. GetCalendar. And so what this does is it hits the public iCal for my Google Calendar that I've sort of set up my scheduled items on, and gives me them in order. So what I want to be able to do is show on a episode by episode basis the what's going to be coming up. So here we have the next one available, starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. America, Chicago time. So what I want to do is go take the information from our homepage that had the episodes. Let's see. So I already had some code that was trying to show the episodes that were in the DB. Where's that at? Oh, there it is. For video. Here we go. So I'm going to copy this bit of code and actually remove it from the homepage, because that's not going to be terribly interesting anymore. We're going to do some other stuff on the homepage, but what I want to list on the live sessions page are my previous live sessions. And then I also want to show people when the next live session is coming up. So go to live sessions, paste this block. This is going to fail outright because I'm not actually passing videos in. So I need to go into the live sessions controller. and just get that repository so I can pass the value in. So we'll do videos, video repository, and videos is going to be find all. We might eventually want to do something interesting there to put them in order, but this is fine for me for right now. And we're going to give it a header, live sessions. All right, so if we go into, say, Astrocasts live session 5, it's going to actually bring up the player for this episode as it is recorded on, or as it is hosted on Vimeo. But before we do that, I want to see if I can get the calendar stuff in. What I had on here before was I wanted to use PSR16 cache using Redis. I think I already have a Redis server set up. So I haven't used Symfony's PSR16 cache, but I've heard it's good. So let's see what we can do. I think it's just the cache component. Not sure how we configure it, but we're going to install it because we need it. All right. So as usual inside these Symfony 4 applications, we should have a new configuration file specific for cache. It's just going to take a second for it to show up because I don't know why. I wonder if I messed up here. I'm going to remove it. I've gotten into the habit of going to Symfony SH for everything, and I didn't this time. So Ileus Cache. There isn't a recipe for it, which is interesting. I wonder how it's used. Actually, this is... Wow. Okay. New Redis adapter. I'm actually really surprised there isn't a cache bundle. So this is the first time working with Symphony Flex that I've run into something that just doesn't make sense. Wow, okay. So, unless they added it to somewhere. No? Huh. Yeah, there was no recipe, so I guess I can't do anything at all with it out of the box. So, huh. Cache adapter. advanced caching. Yeah, it's great that we can create those, but get cache.app. Huh. I guess it's just in framework. All right. Default Redis providers. This is probably where I'm going to want to do Redis. No. I don't really have this. I don't have this way to reference database URLs memorized yet. So we're going to call this env Redis Cache URL. And then we're just going to reference that here. Make sure I remember how to do that. So yeah. Parentheses, %, single quote. And then on this side, %env. All right. So it's going to get the Redis cache URL. So we also need to add the that to here. So we're going to add Redis cache URL equals, we'll just leave it empty, but we're actually going to have to add it to .env. And we're going to do just Redis, I think it was Redis localhost. I think that's what it was. Yeah. And if I do that, I should be able to then access this .getCache.app. Not doing anything with pools, so GetCalendar, print them all. Do I have get? So I'm going to make this a service so that I can get access to it. And the way that we need to do that is we need to add a constructor, call parent, and then add some items to inject. So let's do cache interface. And see if the DI component is smart enough to give me the right one. There we go. But I should require it again. I do have to say it's nice that Symfony's error messages have gotten a lot better. Of course, a non-existent parameter. Oh. Even with all that double checking, I think I still had it backwards. Under framework. The syntax is not fun. It's far from obvious what we need to do. Oh. Let's just add some parentheses and some percent signs. Really? Unorganized option. What did I do? Ah. These are the things that happen when it is almost 2 a.m. Although I'm pretty sure all the way, or all along, it was not really working right. All of the changes had to be made. Just was never going to work. Okay, so I'm going to see if we can load up this command again. Okay, so it at least gets that far, which is awesome. So let's go into here and let's double check the docs here. So I can ask the cache to get an item. Get. And we'll call this blanking on this. Calendar. Num products, and we'll say so calendar. Set. Can I set it? Yes. I'm going to set the value to, I think I can set anything. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to just set the events array. And this cache Save. And then let's run this again. No. Is this a typo? You know what? I think if this is, I can just call set because I'm using the simple cache. And I don't even need this. Empty list. Well, that's not good. Key value in the list. Mixed store must be serializable. All right, and so we'll set a time to live, just because why not? 60 seconds. It's not getting there. So I was printing these in the wrong order, which probably isn't helping. We might actually be getting a warning. Oh, it's a PSR. Oh, it's a PSR6 cache. Oh, it's a simple PSR6 cache. Let's make this explicit. I'm a little annoyed that it's not giving me any. All right, so maybe it's an maybe it's an APCU? Who knows? Default Redis Provider. Let's just make sure the config is not wonky. Nice. All right. This is a fun one. All right. Those move to somewhere else. Yay! It didn't turn out to be nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Let's do get or z. All right, so it has all the information, which is awesome. What is 24 hours, 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds. I'm going to set the cache for the thing that we're getting here to be 24 hours. And let's get rid of this stuff. And I'm just going to get rid of all this other junk because we don't need it anymore. What this does mean is we should be able to really easily get the calendar in our live events controller, our live sessions controller. What we need to get is access to the cache. So we want the piece of our simple cache. And then we'll do a little bit of work here. Probably better to do this in a service at some point, but we're not going to worry about that now. Events equals cache get. We just call it calendar. Default is just going to be an empty array, so we can handle that a little better. And then we're going to do pass in events. Let's see if our can't find the Redis extension. I need to restart PHP. Can't remember if I can do that or not. Brew. PHP 7.2 restart. Yeah, you know what? Valet restart. There we go. Cool. So now what I should be able to do is say inside live sessions, you like Valet? Josh just asked in chat if I like Valet, and yeah, I love Valet. I don't have Vagrant installed right now. I don't have VirtualBox or anything. It's super nice. I can go to any directory in my code directory. Let's go code. Josh rocks. And I think I can just go there. All I have to do is do joshrocks.text. Oh, test. So I don't have to configure anything. It just works, and it makes me super, super happy. So yes, I use Valet as much as I can. I'd love to work with some of the other projects like Docker and things like that, but for most of my projects, it's super simple just to do it this way. It works with a bunch of different projects. Let's see, do I Which project don't I have down yet? I don't have Beau.io, so I'm going to bring that down. And even though it's a Sculpin project, it should still work. So Beau.io. Nice. If Kevin's still on, he'll appreciate this. He's been working hard on doing fun stuff with Sculpin. And this project obviously hasn't been updated in a while. Yeah. Kevin just said the log needs to be updated. Probably needs to be updated for that podcast as well. But so I'm going to run vendor bin sculpin generate, and now I can go to beau.io.test and my site's there. So this is totally like why I love Valet, and most of it is just automation with DNS mask. But I didn't have to do anything with my host file. Just whatever directory ends up in there becomes usable, which is just awesome. Yeah, Valet is pretty nice. I did run into some issues with a couple of things that were related to what were they? Different PHP versions. Like if you have multiple versions of PHP, yeah. Yeah. So Kevin says that he ran into a similar problem 10 minutes ago. All right, so where were we? Live sessions. Let's see if we can get next session. Let's do font normal. Next session starts in actually, let's just do this. Do events dot. Let's see what that looked like. Events dot start. And I don't know if this is actually going to look right. Yeah, start doesn't exist as the array is empty. Events 0. Oops. All right, so something isn't working here. Let's go back to the controller. Print our events. So it is an empty array. So I know that value is in there. So it's like it's coming from a different cache. That's weird. Oh. I don't think I ran the command to get it again after I updated the expiration, or the TTL. The original TTL was up after 60 seconds. So I think that's the problem that I ran into here. Okay, so I can't do something reasonable with datetime, but that's totally fine. Let's get rid of my dump. Twig date. All right, let's go back into the template, and we're going to parse this as R with passing in our time zone. Events.o.timezone. Let's see if this works. Oh, I guess I don't get to pass in the time zone here. Wednesday, October 3rd at 21. And I do want to pass in the time zone though. So let's do see if we can do that. Yeah, okay. So that's actually showing this correctly, which is good. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that. So the thing that needs to happen is I'm going to need to specify a, let's see here, I need to specify a cron job that will run often enough to actually get to those. And I need to get those updated. Okay, so I think that's good. Let's do Twig. Time difference. Eek. That looks more complicated. Date difference. Return it. Existing date extension. How do I get this? Symfony component translation. Date now. Date diff. Let's see if there's a Symfony SH thing for this. Twig extensions. There is. All right, let's give it a try. Also, I think that probably cleared the cache. Let's see. No. Cool. And the code's still working, so let's see. We can actually use this. How? Time diff. Use time diff in 1 month. Not exactly sure how I want to unknown time diff filter. I wonder if I have to enable it. All right, Twig, I'll comment any lines to activate it. So let's do date. a string like generally Twig uses date time diff. It's not doing this, depending on the filter date. Diff in hour. To get a translatable output, give it's not what I'm looking for. Is this a plugin you've used, or is this an extension you've used, Kevin? I feel like it's doing something weird. Maybe it's the filter that's doing it weird. Was doing. I was really excited about this for a little bit, but this is not cool if it doesn't actually work. I guess we can always dip into code. All right, time diff calls diff, get pluralize interval. Maybe I need to enable the translation extension as well. It looked like that was optional, diff an hour. No. Where's it getting count from? Does it actually have translations in here? Diff, okay. So if I'm reading this right, I actually have to create these translations. Which is weird. All right. To get a translatable output, give translator interface as a constructor. The return string is formatted. Twig. Yeah, I'm just gonna copy this because I'm kind of over this. So this goes in resources translations. Make sure that the translation stuff's even installed. I'm not sure that it is at this point. Nope. Let's see. So it's just going to be in the top level directory. was it time dot en dot xlib. Now let's see if this just works. Of course it doesn't. Need to I don't know what the point of this is. I don't know what the point of this is if you have to actually create this class. So missing messages. There's probably something else I need to do with this file to bring it in. Xlib, translation process, locations. Hi, Josh. Please work. Please, yeah, no. Diff ago year. Diff in hour. It's there. It's in the time domain. What are they thinking this is? Domain is date. Wow. Okay, cool. Well, I've added translations to this package or this application. Awesome. So I'm going to change that. Cool. I'll bump this up to H2 because why not? No, actually not. Not cool. Font. Okay. I'm going to try something here. I'm not actually going to do anything in this case, and in theory, we can do some stuff to catch the case where there's no sessions. I'm going to go back to make my database URL not work. All right, well, it happened way earlier than I'd hoped it would. Oh. There we go. So, going to wrap the whole bit here. If I actually think I may not have to do that, but let's leave it that way anyway. Pretty sure that will work. Nope. Length does not exist. Yeah, okay. Kevin's getting fancy on me. That's fine. Well, I don't want to show the whole block. I want the entire block to be skipped. It's not I just want to do something if it's empty. I want to make it as, well, yeah, I want to do a different block entirely if this isn't there. Otherwise, that was a good suggestion. If foo is empty. Empty. Okay, so there's a user's length. I thought I tried length. Or did I try to do dot length? I might have tried to do dot length. On the home page, I actually had something for the case. Looking for live screencast. I'm going to copy this. No, it's So, Kevin, I know you were talking about being curious about Tailwind. I've essentially done nothing in the CSS file. Everything has been done with these little class helpers. I do have an app.css file where I've done a couple of things, but I've tried to do as much as I can just with Tailwind. And here's a case where I started to do something with a component. So I was able to apply little bits and pieces. So inside primary navigation, I'm applying the same utility methods. So I wanted a sans font, I wanted no underline for the A tags, and I wanted the text to be Astrocast black in color. So I could have done those things directly in the CSS itself. And in fact, I think, let's see, I had to underline. Yeah, so I think I can remove this now. So after I had done this a bunch of times and realized that I was doing it in two different places exactly the same, I decided I wanted to create a little component out of this. So even down here was the same. So once you get to a point where certain parts of your design have stabilized, you're able to kind of do some better things with it. So this stuff up here still looks the same. I'm trying to, I don't want these to be 2XL anymore. I want these to be maybe just large. Yeah. Or even, okay. And then I'm going to set the same stuff up on the home page. So I'm going to get these videos, or the events. And actually, I'm going to make this empty. So I think the home page could definitely use this same bit of data. So let's look at the design real quick. Yeah. I'm going to make the file work again. There we go. All right, so let's put this up here. Let's do this text at just XL. And then add an H2. Okay, and now we need to give it the events. So home controller. There we go. Actually, we can probably make that H1. And PY of 8. That's probably a good way to go. So we have Astrocast homepage, live sessions, courses. I don't have any info yet. Topics. I don't think I'm going to publish this tonight, but I don't think I'm that far from being able to publish it tomorrow. I just want to put a little bit of copy on these two pages. we do still have the schedule here, and yeah, so I think this is probably pretty good. The other thing that we need to do is probably block this. So if events is not empty, I used to be pretty good at Twig. Not so much anymore. Let's go back to live sessions, put the same bit here, just so that things don't completely fall apart if we deploy this, or if the cache expires for some reason. Let's actually delete this, drop all keys. Does that work? Cool. So it's not terribly pretty. Looks a little more intentional on the home page than it does on the live sessions page, but I'm fine with that. And then, yeah. Actually, maybe I do want to launch it. It would be kind of fun to see if we can actually deploy it without having to do anything else. Brain is slowly falling apart. Live sessions is going to be there. Actually, I'll just remove these entirely. So it doesn't really matter. So chat will be there. Live sessions, Astrocasts will be there. Cool. So once this actually launches, the problem that we're going to see is that there isn't going to be a database set up or connected, which is totally cool. And we're going to see no calendar stuff out of the box. I should be able to set that stuff up pretty quickly because I'm going to be using the site's hosted on Heroku. So I need to fire up both a Postgres and Redis instance for this application. And then just configure the environment variables with the values that I get from that. Once I do that, I'm hoping that within maybe 10 or 15 minutes after we push this code up to live, it will just be able to work. I will have to probably log in manually to run the cache command. The app calendar or GetCalendar. And then I'm going to look at the Heroku. It's a Heroku scheduler, I think it's called. It's just essentially a cron job that I can set to run maybe hourly, maybe every 2 hours. Either way, the cache or the most recent cache will be there. The only problem I don't want to be the case where I have to cancel something quickly and then it's 24 hours before that gets updated. So I'll probably have it run much longer than the actual cache time, but I also don't want to have to run this command super frequently. So let's see. Get stuff, awesome. Dist. What else we got? Source, Tailwind, templates. Yeah, it's been one of those nights. It's yikes, 1:45. I think, Kevin, you're on the West Coast, so it's still pretty late for you too, right? That's a good idea. He says that he has a plan. His laptop's at 14%, and once it drops too low, that means it's bedtime. Which is awesome. Let's see here. All right, let's see if it's going to give us any problems. Build failed. Awesome. Unsupported DSN. All right, so it looks like I'm going to have to actually set some stuff up here. So I'm going to see how quickly I can do this on a different window. There we go. So let's pull this stuff back up. Resources, add-ons. So we're going to look for Redis. We'll use Heroku Redis. So they have a hobby dev. Connection limit 20. It doesn't offer persistence, so looks like I get to do $15 a month for Redis. Yowza. And suddenly Heroku becomes more expensive, which I'm fine with. All right, so adding this for Astrocast. Documentation Dev Center. Okay. It's provisioning, and then we need Postgres. Heroku Postgres. Look at the marketplace, and what are we looking at here? Yikes. Uh, 10,000 row limit for free. All right, let's try that and see. Premium, attached to another app. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go in and actually set these credentials. And I want to double check where we get those, or what they need to look like. So for Redis, we're gonna use this format. Kevin's suggesting Aurora serverless could be cheaper. It's possible there could be cheaper options. I'm just going to fire this up for now to get it working. Cheap and fast and all of that always comes at weird costs. So we'll have to see. So settings, reveal config vars. I'm going to add Redis cache URL. So it's not localhost. view credentials. So EC2 host name, users H. It's got a whole URI. Awesome. Should have just started there. That actually makes me happy, as long as that's actually a supported same URL. And then we need to do the same thing for Postgres. And so we need for that the database URL. Let's see, Postgres. Settings, database credentials, Postgres URI. All right, so we're back there in business, hopefully. Here we go. Let's go back to Heroku and try redeployment. I'll just be super happy once this is up. Nope. Dependency installation failed. Cannot. Let's see. All right, so that was a bummer. Third-party extension can be enabled through Composer JSON. Give it in parentheses. All right, so I need to require that. Require next Redis. I wonder if I'm gonna have to require extension Postgres. Is that on that list too? Oh, I wish I wouldn't keep losing my window here. Okay, so those are enabled automatically. Awesome. So, date. Remember, if I just want lock only. Lock. All right, Redis is there. What else is gonna fail? Ooh. We got a little further this time. It's looking pretty promising. Awesome. Ooh. Oh, really? Wow. I don't remember. Unsupported DSN. All right. Well, I think I'm going to turn the session down now. Thanks for everyone for joining tonight. I don't know if this episode's actually going to get published ever, but it should be up for repeat if anybody wants to take a look. I'll be back working on that podcast website tomorrow. Well, let's go see what the local version says. I think it's, 12 hours away now? Yikes. Yeah. Yep. About 14 hours, we're going to be kicking off that podcast updates. And hopefully within the next 30 minutes before my eyes fall out, I'll actually have this site up and running again in production. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everyone else who happens to be in the channel. Appreciate you joining. Bye.